Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy. Well, we've lived here on this property for 29 years, and one of the first things we noticed when we moved here, along a path out in the woods, was this log standing up against another tree, and it has since fallen over. I tried to move it at that time. I tried to shove it off of that tree, and it was heavy and it was not going to move, and so we just kind of forgotten about it. And then this past Easter, while we were out there in the woods having our Easter egg hunt, I noticed that it had fallen over. So I went out and took a look at it and thought maybe I should cut it up and see what it is, because I couldn't tell from what I'm seeing here. It's all burned on one side, pretty much moss on the other. But once I made the cut and smelled it, I'm just about certain it's cedar, which accounts for why it hasn't rotted away in all these years. Also might account for why it doesn't seem to be bug infested. And now it doesn't look like it's old growth cedar, even though it's been sitting here for so dang long. Most of the cedar on this property was cut down before we moved in. There are some smaller trees, maybe 20-foot trees around, but they're kind of skinny. This looks like the growth rings look pretty far apart, so I might not get anything usable out of this. I don't know. It isn't very heavy now, at least these smaller pieces aren't. I hope that I can get a woodworm screw to hold. I kind of think not, but we're going to turn one of these into something. Who knows what? I don't. So stand by. I've mounted this up just between centers because I think it's too soft for a woodworm screw to hold it. So I'm gonna make the widest bowl that I can, just with round sweeping sides going up. I've got a defect here that you can see, and over here, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's a pretty big gap in here. So this right now is about 10 by 10, 10 and a half by 10 and a half, I guess. I decided not to take it to the bandsaw. I'm just going to deal with it the way it is. And I'm not looking forward to the first little while with this because it's going to be messy. All this burned stuff coming off. So it's going to be a mess, but we're going to make something out of this. I'm going to start with a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. I'm going to put my mask and face shield on, and we're going to get to turning. I'm going to start at a little over 500 RPM. I'm going to go with this diamond point tool to create the dovetail on my tenon. That looks pretty good. Pick the speed up here a little bit. About 630. Typically I like to sand and put a finish on before I flip it around. But in this case, since I don't know what I'm going to end up with up here, I don't want to waste a lot of time and then have it all blow apart. So, I think I'm about done with the outside. I think I'm ready to turn it around. About 630 RPM. Tailstock's starting to get in my way here. I just don't know. I don't know if this looks good. I got full round right here. Then I got flat. Then I got round. Then I got burned. Then I got flat. I don't know if that looks good or not. Kinda does. The only way to fix it is to go clear down, take that flat away, another 3/4 of an inch. I don't know if that's a good idea. That'll still leave some burned part, which is what I want. I want to be able to remember where this came from. On the other hand, I guess it's not very strong, is it? What to do, what to do. I think I'm gonna, come on, speak up, what's it gonna be? I think I'm gonna take the rim down further and get rid of these flat spots. It'll still leave burned area. Yeah, taking the rim down further. Yeah, I think that looks better. I think I'm going to have kind of a thick rim to keep this burned part on here. It's got to have something backing it up. Well, I took the tailstock away and I'm going to remove this center. And I've been thinking about what kind of finish am I going to put on this Cedar. And then I thought, well, none. It's very aromatic. That's how I knew what it was when after I made a couple of chainsaw cuts. Clearly cedar. Plus it looks like cedar. But it smells so good. So I think this isn't going to have any finish on it. I'm just going to sand it and call it good. I may put sanding sealer on this burned part right here, just to harden it up a little bit so it'll stick around. So I will carefully apply sanding sealer to that, but other than that, no finish on this. I'm going to have these thick walls in order to maintain some backing for this burned part. So that's just the way it is. I can't even go in. I guess I could go in some under it. That's about as far as I can go because there's a defect back here. I don't know if you can quite see that. Sounding pretty hollow right there. And I don't, yeah, you can even see it coming through there. So that's as thin as I can get it right in this area. I'm gonna check my thickness at the bottom. I don't think I'm very close, but can't be too careful. 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, about 5/8 of an inch out there, about 5/8 of an inch right here in the corner. So from about here down, I gotta thin it out a little bit without taking too much from the bottom. Try one more cleanup pass and call it good. That's it. I'd like to scrape it, but I'm afraid that'll tear it up. So I'm just going to start with some coarse sandpaper and smooth this out as best I can. The outside's pretty nice. Well, I guess it'll sand easy anyway, being cedar. Yeah, I'm just going to sand it. So let me get cleaned up here and we'll do some sanding. Well, I'll be doing this for a while, but it does sand up real nice, real quick, so probably a half an hour and I'll have this done. I got to do inside and out. I'm worried about this burn part spreading around the rim, so I'm thinking I might do all the sanding except for the rim, inside and out, and then sand this with my Sandoflex, and then apply some sanding sealer, and then sand the rim. Maybe sanding sealer will keep this from deteriorating and spreading. So I'll be working on this for a while, and I'll bring you back when it's about done or time to turn it around and take off the tenon. I thought I'd just give you a quick update of what I've done. I'm not done sanding. But what I've discovered, and you probably knew this before I got started, why didn't somebody say something? Come on, guys, help me out. In sanding, the burn part of this, of course, was much softer. I don't know why I didn't think of this, duh. So now it's nice and flat. Hardly even looks burned anymore. Well, it does, but... So I sealed it up with 3 coats of sanding sealer in hopes that that would harden it enough that it wouldn't deteriorate down to nothing. I'm just leaving this as a remembrance for us, actually, that this piece came from this property. I don't know how the tree ever burned. I don't know if it got struck by lightning or what. But the whole, I don't know, 12, 15 foot stump laying on the ground is burned. Anyway, so I coated it in hopes that it would stay there. I doubt it. And I'm just going to finish sanding. So there you go, one update complete. See you in a bit. The sanding's done, time to take off that tenon. So I've mounted a block of wood here and a non-slip cloth. I'm just going to bring up the tailstock and apply a little pressure. I wish I would have removed this little nub, this half a nub. Pick up the speed here a little bit. About 500. Now I've removed it, haven't I? Make sure I got enough pressure applied there. Yeah, we're good. I kind of like to leave this little raised area here when I can. Got plenty of clearance. Now this worries me a little bit for the way I typically do this because this is so soft, cedar. But we will continue. but I think I'll get my tool rest a little closer. I just want to get that tenon as small as I can. Yeah, that hardly ever happens, but it sure did that time. I don't know if I did any damage, we'll find out. I don't think so. So I'll get this sanded up and I'll be back. Well, there we have it. One 10-inch cedar bowl with the burned material left intact. Again, this is from this property. It's been here longer than we have, which is almost 30 years. And that was my main purpose here, was just to turn that into something. There's lots of it left. I brought another piece in with me, and there's lots more out there. The cool part is it doesn't seem to deteriorate in the weather, but no bug holes, no infestations, no nothing like that. It's just a bowl. But it means something to us. So maybe you have a special piece of wood from your property that you'd like to turn into something. I think that's probably a really good idea. So that completes this week's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming one. I put out regular videos, about one a week. If you did like this video, maybe a thumbs up. If it's not too much trouble, I'd appreciate that. A comment is always welcome. Negative or positive, doesn't matter. We can talk about whatever your concerns are. So there you go. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.